Well, we made it back from Westwoods. We had an amazing weekend at the Westwood meetup in Metamora, Illinois. I apologize for not making it back in time, and then we had a family emergency Monday night. I haven't slept much. I've been at homeschool all day, and anyway, but we made it to Truth Tuesday with Satoshi Sean, and I'm glad you made it here too. So jump in the live chat. We'll be right back right after this. How's it going, Sean?
It's pretty good. I'm tired.
You too.
Really tired. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I am, yes, just wiped out. We have a new friend in the chat. Thuran's there. Thuran was at the Westwood meetup. That was really great to see him again. A new friend, Alvin, is in the chat. Good to meet you. Thanks for
Alvin. Good to see you, Alvin.
Yes.
Jim, I think it was Jim was there.
Yeah, Jim was there this weekend.
Send me a picture of you and him.
Yeah.
There.
He's doing great.
Y'all look good. It was good. Did you have a good time?
Polly P was there with bells on. We all had a great time. So great weekend.
Awesome.
That's always exhausting because everybody's trying to spend as much time together as they can with each other. So we all stay up way too late and visit, but it was great. And then all this storm stuff is coming in. Everybody's freaking out.
I was going to say, the parts of America are having some bad times. So I'm glad y'all had some good times.
Yeah. I did see, and I think people missed maybe some of the information where like there's, rumors that the ports were being handed over, what was really going on with the ports. Polly just got home an hour ago. Wow. And the National Guard did get called in Florida to take over the ports during the strike.
I think he just threatened to, and that basically took all the power away from the unions, which we could talk about that.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't hear that theory on that.
Yeah,
that kind of defaulted the union or pulled the union's hand
because basically they can shut down New York, they can shut down Boston, they can shut down. But if Florida's open, then everything just goes to Florida. So it's not like their strike would really affect it. Would annoy the supply chain. It would mess, but the supply chain would just adjust. But if they could have closed down every port, they literally would have shut down the whole country.
Right.
But DeSantis was just like, Florida's going to be open, and that was it. They're like, okay.
Because if we need to, we will call in the National Guard.
And then they said, well, we'll put it off till after the election. But basically, they had an opportunity to hold the country hostage, and they took it. They're like, this is our moment to get whatever we want, and they tried.
Well, then I was also hearing rumors that the ports were under, it was all that maritime law stuff, and this was a way to give it back to we the people, to take it out of the corporation, and that was part of we'll give it to the National Guard. If it's run under the National Guard, then that is the we the people. So there's that whole narrative as well, which makes
that whole maritime law thing, all that.
Yeah, Rice did a lot of videos about that.
Yeah, I watched something which was interesting on that no matter what, there's no way to get away from it, because once they went into space and they said because they called the planet something in the sea of space, Earth in the sea of space, then that literally classified the planet as a ship, no matter where you are.
So like above, below, like they talk about how space is but the sea is as big as space or whatever. I see what you're saying.
No, they said that space is an ocean.
Like an ocean.
And so that the entire planet is
So is that part of why why Elon's saying that he's dark MAGA and that we're going to Mars? Could that be an undoing of that?
I don't know about that, but I think that I think Elon just thinks it's cooler to be dark MAGA. But
I,
this
I was
is
going to
gonna
wear my dark MAGA hat. Darn
this is
it.
gonna be so rough. I'm so tired and it's hard to focus. So what were you just talking about? I lost my train.
Dark MAGA.
You know, before that was the sea.
The storms, the ports, the port
No,
strike.
nah. Let's go
Yeah,
on. I'll have to
totally
try to
wrong.
remember it. But
Um,
it was it was something about the on something that I saw because it was I watched. Oh, yes, this I remember now. It's very important.
okay.
Flat earthers.
Oh
I've
dear God, I
argued.
don't want to talk about that. I have two things that I really have to talk about.
Well, I've argued with flat earthers millions of times. I've done it on shows. I don't understand what the goal is. And then I sent it to you that it's that it's religious, that the globe is satanistic, and that the flat earth is Christian. Basically, it's a it turned it's a whole new thing that I'm gonna have to rabbit hole and want to go down now because I was always like, what's the point of all of the conspiracy, and what's the and then people say, oh, it's just so that the government can try and just mess with people's heads and rewrite history or do whatever. It's to see how far they can go. They can lie about the fact that the earth is flat. That was always a little bit too far out there. But then this religious angle, I was like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. So, but all right. What do you want to talk about?
So what I also want to talk to you about, my friend William Billingsley and some other token holders, very token holders, have filed a complaint against Tinero or whatever his name is, Jorge,
Mm-hmm.
for causing harm to token holders. And I kind of touched on it on Friday, but it was really hard for people to hear. I heard when we were at the happy hour. And so it's really interesting. Like they created this, kind of put it all together and really went through it. And it's this. So Tinero is the same guy who signed off on the Ripple case. This affects not just Veritasium holders, but basically any token holder in the secondary market. So he does put the Moon Lambo guy just did a video on this talking about the misconduct complaint, and other people can look at this, and if they feel that there was misconduct, they can file a complaint as well to the bar. So I was going to play a little bit of this.
Signed off on Ripple case appeal facing bar complaint. Now, let me ask you a question.
I'm not sharing. Am I? Darn it. I'm tired, you guys. No, I am sharing it. Okay.
You're sharing.
You're seeing it. You're seeing it.
You familiar with the name Jorge Tenrero?
Tenrero. I always say.
In a world that's not completely upside down, the answer from 100% of you should be no. Now, for a lot of you, undoubtedly, the answer is yes, even if you're like, wait, I can't quite place that. What that name sounds familiar. This name has been heard by millions of people at this point. Why? Is this some superstar athletic individual, perhaps in the NFL, perhaps in the NBA? Maybe you play some baseball? No, it is not. This is an asshat prick attorney at the SEC. And you know his name. Maybe not all of you listening, but a lot of you do. Now, of course, that's because he's been in some high-profile crypto cases, including the SEC v. Ripple lawsuit, of course, here. And now he is at risk of losing his law license. He is as a result of alleged misconduct. So I'm going to share with you the specifics here, but this guy has been one of the most destructive forces on the legal team over at the SEC. and including for all of us personally here in the XRP community as XRP holders, his actions have harmed every single XRP holder on the entire damn planet. So I'll tell you exactly what's going down here. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby.
Yeah,
just
me either.
All right, here we go. Jorge G. Tenrero, the SEC's enforcement chief for crypto assets and cyber unit, is facing a bar complaint after signing off the appeal against Ripple and its founders. The SEC's chief enforcer could face termination from the bar after a misconduct complaint was filed against him. According to an X article, holders of the Veri token, that's VERI, that's the Veritasium token. So as I say Veri throughout this article, we're talking about VERI, not the word Veri, VERY, which if I didn't explain here, for those of you not looking at the screen, could become confusing. So anyway, according to an X article, holders of the Veri token have submitted an amicus brief to Judge Annalisa Torres, who presides over the SEC v. Ripple case. And so I'll just pause to say, this should surprise nobody. We didn't know for sure it was going to happen, but there's a lot of pissed off people in a lot of different communities, not just here in the XRP community, though. We have the greatest beef, I think it's fair to argue, compared to any community in the world of crypto. Anyway, piece continues. Tenrero was one of the SEC's executives who signed off on the appeal of the case against fintech giant Ripple. The October 2nd notice of appeal was in contention with the court ruling from Judge Torres. Notably, Tenrero was also involved in several other cases involving crypto projects, including the lawsuits against Debtbox and Veritasium. I'll just pause to remind you here. Debtbox, oh my God, what a debacle. Do you remember? I'm just going to read the headlines. I don't really need to get into the specifics of this, but I want to remind you. Here's a headline from May 28th. Judge dismisses Debtbox case, orders SEC to pay $1.8 million in fees. So this was the case where, and again, Jorge's part of this too, where the SEC had accounts frozen from Debtbox based on false information, and they knew it, and the judge called them out, and it resulted in at least a couple attorneys, let's just say they were let go. They're effectively fired. You know, even if they technically, they're out of there. There was also this headline. This is from June 4th of this year. SEC to shutter office behind failed Debtbox crypto lawsuit. So the entire office behind that, the SEC, there was such fallout after this happened that the entire freaking SEC office shut down behind that. And there are multiple offices, of course, for the SEC. That one's gone. It no longer exists. Jorge Tenrero, everybody. What a guy. Anyway, piece continues here. On October 4th, holders of Veritasium's native token, started filing a bar complaint against the SEC chief enforcer. For context, a bar complaint is a civil accusation filed against a lawyer. If the bar deems the grievance is fit, cases handled by the legal practitioner will be reviewed, and the lawyer will face debarment in the association finds any misconduct. Isn't it disbarment? Am I tripping here? They wrote debarment. I don't know if I'm tripping, then I'm tripping, but otherwise I'm just going to say it's another case of a bunch of C students writing stuff on the webernets. But, you know, that's crypto media, everybody. Anyway, peace continue. Or you can make fun of me if I'm wrong. Pretty sure it's disbarment. The legal battle between the Wall Street regulator and the crypto project started on August 12, 2019, when the SEC sued Veritasium's owner, Reggie Middleton, for crypto fraud. Per the filing, the SEC alleged that Middleton raised $15 million by selling unregistered securities through its initial coin offering and called out for the court to freeze assets. Oh, does that sound familiar? More asset freezing in yet another case? Oh, how about that, you bullies? Notably, Middleton fought back, accusing the SEC of twisting facts about the Veri token. The CEO also argued that selling Veri to investors does not constitute an investment contract. However, he later reached a settlement with the regulator. Okay, so that's not surprising. The smaller project without the gigantic war chest that Ripple has, kind of hard to fight back forever without ruining your entire life financially. So settlement reached is what it is. We've seen this story time and time again.
Right.
Anyway, despite this, holders of the Veri token began filing a bar complaint against Tenrero, who was the SEC's senior trial counsel in the case against the Veritasium project. The complaints allege that Tenrero and the SEC wrongfully prosecuted the project, leading to substantial losses for very holders. Well, that story's getting a little old at this point, and we see this time and time again. We saw that here. You pick a case, man. Anything that he is involved in, it just destroys people who are trying to better themselves financially. Anything this guy's involved in. It's true of the entire SEC. Because, again, there are a bunch of
now he has
asshat pricks. I mean, we're talking that these are spawns of Satan, winged creatures from the depths below. That's what they sound like as they fly around. They hiss at you.
Earlier, maybe
it's like a geese. They're like geese. They hiss at you when you walk around, and then they shit all over the sidewalk where you live. It sucks. And so if you're wondering if this is real, I did my best to actually verify this, even though it was in crypto media here. And I did find the website where you can, I'm not telling you to do or not do anything, but you can actually participate should you choose. Here you go. New York bar complaint against Jorge G. Tenrero for professional misconduct and tortious interference. So I found that.
Where it says impact statement.
Now, as this was getting circulated throughout the XRP community on social media the other day.
Yeah, you can go in and read it. And it makes an impact statement PDF generator. It shows you how you can participate if you feel you've been impacted. But what I thought he talked about on this, I must have been on a different video that I watched, where they talk about like the fact that they alleged that the patents were fraudulent. And now Reggie has like, I think 3 in the US and 2 out of Japan or vice versa. I can't remember. That caused harm to token holders and many other things. And so that's where like there was harm done. And so anyway, it's good that there's other people that had other like personal stories that they can share their personal experience and story, because the SEC is supposed to be here to protect the investor, we the people. And instead, they've brought up a lot of harm. And, Hester Pierce was speaking the other day in front of Congress, and she admitted, she said, we specifically
used ambiguous language. Yeah.
Yes, have used ambiguous language on purpose. And so they're admitting that. And they have caused harm by using ambiguous language and then litigating to
I think they caused harm not by using ambiguous language, by using very specific language. The word fraud. That's causing, that's the
point.
Yeah. It's not like,
well, ambiguous
shady or something. It was fraud.
So their accusation was specific, but in general, when talking about tokens in regulation, they've been ambiguous.
Very ambiguous. Yeah, that's because
in accusations they were specific.
Which is it's so stupid. I mean, it's not. If we were a different country, fine. It's like, hey, we don't want to start this, but you're the United States. It's like everyone's looking to you. What are you going to do? How is this going to work? This new asset. What are you going to do? I mean, I'd say maybe like Great Britain, but no, they're not. Everyone's looking at the U.S. to see how you're going to handle this. And see what the rules are for the rest of the world. That's like what we do. Because if some other country tries to do it, then we just say, oh no, we don't want that. We don't like that. We're changing the rule. So we're going to do it anyway. So they're just waiting, and then, like she said, they put it off for so long. Where now the crypto industry is it's massive, and now they're going to try to make some rules.
But are they making the rules, or are they sending their rules or their ideas? Because I thought it had to be sent to Congress for Congress to make the law. Like they're supposed to be regulating the law that Congress makes, right?
That's a good point. I think that it's a good argument for them. Because they're supposed to interpret the laws that are on the books for crypto.
And there just aren't any.
But when crypto is a completely new asset, then you literally would have to make laws for this new thing, which they're not allowed to do. So technically, they have a good argument as to why they didn't do anything.
But then they shouldn't be enforcing anything.
Right.
You can't have it both ways. They can't say,
Right.
"Oh,
Which
you
was
don't
just what
have
they
the
kind of
law."
tried to do. But they should have went to Congress and said, hey, this is a whole totally new thing. You know, we need to have at least committees or something to because they should start or to figure out what to is it a commodity? Is it an asset? Is it a currency? Is it that's you remember years ago we were all wanting some island nation or someone to adopt it uh, as their currency so that it would be like legitimized as currency.
So it would be legal tender in another nation, so it
Yeah,
couldn't be
so
whatever.
we it
Yeah.
wouldn't be Beanie Babies because it was literally the main classification was what's his name on that late night show, and he was like, "It's a Beanie Baby. It's like Beanie Babies."
I don't know.
He's the only person that actually classified crypto, uh, which I guess he was really looking in the future and classifying what NFTs turned out to be.
Interesting. Well, anyway, I feel like that's a way people can be empowered to kind of push back and say if you feel you've been harmed, there are people that have looked over this and said, and it's not just it's any token holder that can look at this and see the harm. So there will be a link in the description of this. I thought I had it already in there, but I do not see it in there. If not, look in the Telegram group and on my Twitter. I'll be sure to retweet that, but I definitely will post it in the description of this video as well. One other quick thing that I wanted to share. Did you see, I believe it was in Butler, the girl, really beautiful girl. She had the t-shirt that said "Knocking for Trump." She was trying to get his attention. This weekend, I believe, is at Butler. I messaged her and she DM'd me back and said that Elon responded to her. So she was trying to go around and knock for Trump, and she believes the American PAC has been hijacked, or she's concerned about it. And Elon messaged her back and just said, like, I guess they fired her for some reason because she was complaining about the pay, because they were not paying what Elon was saying. Because I guess he was trying to recruit people for registering people to vote, trying to get more people out to get the vote out.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, I need more than this, the America PAC. If you read the application, you would have seen everything I've been saying. They said thanks, but then they fired her. They kind of paid her off to give her back pay and silence her. And Elon responded to her, sorry, so many dumb things happening, working on fixing it. And then she goes into this. So she goes to the rally and ends up getting a seat behind
Trump's arrival. I already got your attention on X and I want to get it again. I want to work with you to make the America PAC great again. I'm standing here right now, but I really got a seat in the back. So watch out. Hey, Elon Musk, I'm out.
She's a little doll, and she was she was sitting right over Trump's shoulder. And a bunch of people saw her and were tweeting during the speech and saying, we see you, and getting the attention. She's got a tiny little Twitter channel, but people saw her and saw her shirt that had her Twitter handle on it. And so it got his attention, and that she's going to work on it. And I guess he's now committed because he responded to her. But it's like, I think it's about cleaning up the corruption, like everywhere, cleaning up the PAC, cleaning up, why do we need a PAC? Why are we paying people to be good Americans? Why are we paying people? And then we're seeing all this stuff where, like, we've got the FEMA nightmare where supposedly Kamala and Joe have spent all this money on the immigrants, the illegal immigrants. And now we see what's happening with the storms.
$30 billion.
Right. North Carolina, I mean, $600 trillion to Ukraine, and we have and you supposedly you can just keep printing it for Ukraine. If it's another country, no problem. Turn on the printer. But when it's North Carolina, there's rotting babies on the mountain. There's no money for that. Oh, they're going to give them $750 a piece.
Very, there's a lot to unpack about that. That we can talk about that over on my
Let's
channel.
talk about that on your channel, because there's something's wrong there. Something is very wrong, and they're trying to get our attention, and something's got to be fixed. There are some beautiful stories coming out where, like, Americans are being their brother's brother and showing up and helping as best they can. But, like, where's the military? Where's the National Guard for North Carolina? Where's the help there?
There was and Chad Prather just talked about this today, and he said stuff that I was kind of surprised. About the like, choose my words, helicopter attack on the aid station there.
I saw that.
Right, that was an unmarked Black Hawk helicopter. Which,
okay, was it AI or was it real? Did that really happen?
Yes, it really happened.
Okay.
AI can't do things you think that it can unless it's government AI that you're not supposed to know about. Honestly, so something like that, and that was a okay. The words "unmarked helicopter" is illegal. You can't do that.
Good point.
It's like not the Black
You
Hawk
can't fly
helicopter.
a helicopter around
Period.
without tail numbers and all that.
But when you have a like a Black Hawk helicopter, there's only so many. It's very rare. I mean, so to have one of those and to be unmarked is illegal from the start, and then you can't be flying into that area. So all of those, there's so many red flags with that thing, and then the fact that they came in, blew over all the, it was like it was like asshole teenagers causing a ruckus, but it was an unmarked Black Hawk helicopter that was doing it. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. When you ask where the military is, like, that's where it seems to be. The government, and when it comes to the response, literally seems to be on the other side. They're harming the citizens with the stuff that they're doing. I don't know if you know all the stuff that's been going on.
I'm a little bit out of the loop, but yeah, I mean, I've kind of been keeping up. When we drove home for 10 hours, I tried to get as much news as I could, but, watching it, a lot of people, Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about trying to expose how the military was admitting that, or how the military has admitted in the past about manipulating weather. And, people are really upset about that with what's going on in Florida, because there are the capabilities to break apart hurricanes and all that. So why aren't they doing that? Mm-hmm. And then people are showing like NOAA and HARP and all this kind of stuff, possibly making it worse. And
it's like they like information to come out on their terms, like the Area 51 effect, like I always talk about. It's everyone's like, hey, we know you can control the weather. Why don't you control it to fix it? People were like, hey, there's some conspiracy that the Bushes can control, gas prices. And after a while, they're like, hey, the Bushes can control gas prices. Can you fix this? It's a little high. People just want the end. They don't want vindication. They don't want apology. They just want you to, the end result. We know you can do it. Do it.
They're okay with them still being in control as long as they make their daily life okay?
Yeah, they're like,
I don't believe that.
We don't. Yeah.
But look, so like, did you see the interview that Tucker did? Several big bombs. he was talking about how, like, he believes that, like, the elites are all pumping up Kamala because they know that the list will come out if Trump wins. I mean, I think that's part of this whole weather warfare right now is that they're trying to disrupt. I mean, we're how many days away, a month away from the vote. Well, how difficult is it going to be to have another red state, destroyed?
How difficult is it going to be to vote when you have no electricity and polling stations
Yeah, exactly. And how
and all
many
that?
states are affected now? Georgia, I also saw like some voter election person in Georgia step down. Like there's just too many things. Our
Well,
country is just in
yeah, but
crisis.
everyone stepped down at 23andMe. That was such a huge thing, and like it's nobody cares anymore. And
Also, there was a huge hack.
if Trump was going to expose this list, why didn't he do it when
Why
he was?
didn't he do it when he was in office? I
Yeah.
completely agree. I also do not understand what was going on with the October 7th, him putting the beanie on, and he read the little note, which creeped me out. Like it reminded me of the Bush funeral or the Bush funeral when Hillary and all them read the notes. He
Mm-hmm.
read the note and he put the beanie on, and then he went over and put a rock on top of I'm hoping that meant something good for America, but it seemed a little creepy. I don't know what all
I think
those
you hit
ceremonies
the nail on the
mean.
head when you're like, people need to not think he's going to fix everything. People need to know it's you that has to fix it. And he
Yeah.
said that. That's something he said a lot of times. He's like, hey, I can't fix everything. The people have to fix everything. Which I think that's the only way we're going to get stuff.
Well, people are supposed to be a lot of people delayed their taxes for the 15th or whatever of October. And I'm sorry, but like when you think about what you're supporting with that at this moment in time, like where what are you supporting when our friends in our fellow American in Florida, North Carolina, Georgia right now need help?
Mm-hmm.
And instead, you're sending money in and it's being sent to the Ukraine. You can't trust where it's going.
That's something I thought was cool about this is that we have this bad thing happen, and a lot of people are like, so what countries are sending us aid?
Yeah.
This terrible
Well,
thing
and
happened.
are we complicit by
Yes.
participating in it in that way?
Yeah. Well,
Like, I do not want to be complicit in harming my fellow Americans and supporting the Ukraine and
or just
Israel, to be
war
honest.
in general. That's
War in general. I
but
don't
that
support
see,
war.
now you're getting into the conversation of how they changed the way we were governed, how they changed the purse strings when they made
Right.
the when they made the Federal Reserve and did the whole
Why
thing.
are we paying for
Because
war when our own country needs recovery?
before the government had to go to us and say, hey, we want to support a war.
The
We
war
have
bonds.
war bonds.
You
We need
are
war bonds.
right.
We need money. And when we let them change the money, that's when
Mhm.
we lost our power. We gave it away.
Yep. You're
And
right.
because they can do, like you said, they can just print money. And now we're Oliver saying, please, sir, may I have some more than the 750? Whereas before
We
we
told them no.
owned the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were the bank. They had to come to us.
Mhm.
But
And they didn't have big black op budgets to
no.
go police the whole world.
Yes, that was another thing that they had to be transparent because they had to come to their parents and be like, what do you need this money for? I can't tell you. Like, no, you can't have it.
And the
Like,
answer is no.
well, it's important. You should trust me. No. And they definitely couldn't get away with hiding trillions.
Mhm.
How much did they lose before 9/11? Wasn't it like $4
It
trillion?
was Oh, it wasn't very much. Yeah, it was, I can't even remember. 2 trillion. How much was in building 7? I can't remember how much was in building 7, but that was what it was all about, you know.
All right. Let's
Let's talk about more of this great stuff over on your channel. So you guys, there's a link in the description. There's also links if you'll refresh, if you would like to learn more about the bar complaint against Jorge Terrero, whatever his name is. I can't even say it. If you feel you would like to learn more about that, check that out. None of this is financial or legal advice. So see you guys over there. Thanks, Sean.